Good morning. So I'm making a quick video just to give us a little bit of a refresher on how to racer our journal response questions. Remember, whenever we've been reading a novel, each day we answer with journal response, and we always make sure that we racer our responses. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to model one of the questions for you just to get you started. This is all review. We've been doing this since August. So let's get going. Here we go. Our question that we're going to work on today is, hold on, technical difficulty, sorry. Our question that we're going to work on today is, how does the historical background of Bangladesh correlate with what Nadira's family is going through? Use text, support, and your own interpretations to answer the prompt, and this was in chapter 3. Well, in our notes section, I told you to go to page 20 to 22. So I'm going to have you go to page 20. You start, I think it's the last paragraph on page 20. Read that, all of page 21 and page 22. Pause this video and come back when you're done reading, okay? Okay, are we back? Now that we've read it, let's just go through a really quick. What is racer? Racer is, we start by restating words from our prompt, and then we answer our prompt. We cite evidence from the text, at least 2 pieces of evidence. We need to explain each of our pieces of evidence, and then we restate that first sentence that has our restating words and our answering our prompt. So if we look at our question here, how does the historic background of Bangladesh correlate with what Nadira's family is going through? Use text to support your own interpretations and answer the prompt. The words that we would use in our response, in our R section, if we go back in this restating our words, let's bold those words, or look at the bold words that I've done. Historical background of Bangladesh correlate with what Nadira's family is going through. Those are the words that we're going to pull from our prompt in order to answer using our R and our A. We call it R and A. We also call it our thesis statement or our claim. All 3 of those, it's the same sentence. Also, while we were reading pages 20 and 22, I hope you took notes. Some of the notes that you should have gotten is that there was a famine, and great-grandma had 3 different sons that died of starvation. It says she watched their skin touch their bones and them die. That's what that means when your skin's touching your bones. It means you're dying of starvation. It also talked about grandma's friend being burned when the city was torched, and it talks about the Hindu versus Muslim fighting. So those are the 3 pieces of evidence that I wrote down. Remember, we only have to have 2, but I always like to write down 3 or 4 so I can choose the best. So now that we know what words we're going to use from the prompt, let's go ahead and jump into our very first sentence. So our first sentence, we would say, the historical background of Bangladesh correlates with Nadira's family experience, and I need an answer. My answer is going to say in many ways, because remember, my evidence is going to explain how Nadira's family's experience correlates with the historic background of Bangladesh. I remember we learned about the historic background of Bangladesh in the video that we watched. And we actually talked about this in class, doing these 2 things. Again, this video is just a reminder of how to put together Racer and what the expectations are for each of the answers on each of the slides of your journal. Okay? All right, so we have our R and we have our A. Now let's talk about how do we take these 3 pieces of evidence and turn them into 3 pieces of evidence and turn them into our 2 strongest evidences. Well, we've got historic background and correlating with Nadira's family experience. So I would first take grandma having 3 sons die of starvation. We remember that there was a famine, and also remember World War II was going on at that time, and a lot of the food was going to supply the British soldiers. We learned that from the video. So that could be our first piece of evidence. Grandma having 3 sons that died, and our second would probably definitely be grandma's friend being burned alive, because we talked about the entire city got torched, half of the city burned to the ground, and that history directly affected Nadira's family. So how are we going to put this in? Let's show. First, we need to start with transition transition words. So our first transition word is going to be first. First, Nadira's great-grandmother had 3 children die of starvation. And now I need to explain my evidence. I can't just say that evidence. This was due to the famine and World War II. Next, another transition word and my evidence. Grandmother's friend was burned alive running down the street. And then I have to explain This was due to the fighting between the Muslims and the Hindus. My final sentence is going to be my concluding sentence. The easiest transition to use is in conclusion, but as a challenge, if you have mastered this, then please challenge yourself and don't use in conclusion. Try a stronger. These are the reasons, or moreover, or therefore. But for those of us that we're still working on RACER and trying to master it, in conclusion is a good safe bet. So we can say, in conclusion, Nadira's story correlates with the historical background of Bangladesh in many ways. Remember, our last sentence ties back to our first sentence. And this is the expectation for racering every single time. I hope this video helps. Please stop it. Please pause it and take it nice and slow. I'm just rushing through it because it's A, supposed to be a review, and B, because it's a video and you can go as slow as you need to. I hope this helps, and remember, we are racering every single question because we want to get full credit, and the purpose of racering is getting in the habit of writing those really strong paragraphs in our written response, so that when we go to 7th grade and when we go to 8th grade, we can take those paragraphs and we can stretch them out into really strong 5-paragraph essays. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoy your 3-day weekend. Bye.